There is nothing greater than associating everything that happens around you with the Master. It can be done. Everything happens. Master, thank you. Master, why did you do this? It's a bad thing. Master, how did you do this? If you want to get angry, with the Master. Meditation. Did you know that? Complaint to the Master. Meditation. If you are somehow associating Master with every little event and action that happens in your life, you are not creating karma, but putting attention inwards. So that's the easiest way I found. That whether something happens which you think is good or bad. Good, thank you, Master. Bad, why did you do it? It's simple. It's just remembering Master both ways. It's meditation both ways. But you will notice that very often, when you practice reminding yourself, this is a payoff of the old karma. And meditate regularly, you will be able to see what the payoff was for. Right now we don't know, we don't see our past lives. But in other levels, you will be able to see the past lives, why we are paying off. Right now, we sometimes don't understand why certain bad things, so-called bad things happen, because we say we did nothing in this life. Why did this happen? But we forget what we did in the past life. We forget. This forgetfulness is a very important factor. The role of forgetfulness is very important. If you did not have this role, there would be no world existing here. We could not exist if we did not forget the past. It will be impossible. We are always screaming all the time and all die out of screaming if we could not forget what happened in the past. Forgetfulness is helping us. Forgetfulness of the past life makes this life real for us. And everything looks like really happening now. Of course, it perpetuates this creation. But for a seeker of the truth, for a seeker who wants to go beyond, it's important to know that since we have forgotten what happens, we have only to assume that we are paying off and not perpetuate the karma. When you go inside, you will also be able to see, good, I paid off. Supposing you buy some groceries from a store and at the counter you are paying off. Do you ever feel bad about paying off? No, you bought something, you're paying off. You did something, you pay off something. You go to an amusement park, you are having a ride, you buy a ticket. You go to a movie, you buy a ticket. You never say, oh, somebody's stealing my money. But if you didn't know that you're paying for the ride, somebody's stealing your money. In this case, because of forgetfulness of the past, you are thinking, somebody stole my money. No, you stole his money or her money, and you are just paying back, settling an account. All karmic payback is settling of accounts. And don't you want to settle accounts and be done with it? No matter what accounts they are, whether they are here with a grocery store or at the gas station or anywhere, we settle accounts. And there we are settling a karmic account. Just this awareness, keeping this awareness with us till we reach inner stages, is helpful, not creating more karma and not having to come back for a second life just because of the remainder karma even after initiation. So initiation should be a very big turning point in our life. Very often, the love that we experience from a master, especially if we are able to associate more and more with a perfect living master, the love and devotion grows. Automatically, that memory of the love experience from a master, that holds our attention, and we do not pay that much attention to things that are happening around. If we don't have that pull of the love, our attention goes immediately to these little things and we react. So the reactions become less automatically when we are experiencing love and devotion for a master. So that's another good reason that meditate all day. Remember Master with everything that you are doing. And karma will not be created and old dues will be paid very quickly. And one of the practices I recommend is to learn how to keep your mind away. Because
The mind constantly thinks, constantly takes us out of the way. And if we can start ignoring it, if we can put the mind aside, we may be able to just march ahead. The art of putting the mind aside is a very great one, but it requires an earlier practice of identifying yourself as something different from the mind. Right now, we have jumbled ourselves. The mind and soul, the mind and our consciousness have been so tied up, we don't see the difference. When we say, I think so, we don't realize you don't think so. The mind thinks so. You are using the mind to think so. Thinking is a mechanical action of the mind. Thinking is a function of the mind. It's not you thinking. You don't need to think. If you want to think, you use the mind. So why should you use yourself when you have got a mind to think? Mind is given to us for thinking. But we start identifying with the mind to such an extent, we think we are the mind. That's the very big obstacle on the way to meditation. And we will be able to take care of these things as we go along. You are here for a few days. I want you to have some practical experiences during here, because otherwise we hear these talks and we hear satsangs and we go home and we are where we were. I noticed people have been attending satsangs, attending spiritual discourses for 40 years. They are where they were to start with. And they have some kind of blind faith, some blind belief that yes, one day we will get it. The same belief you get by going to church, the same belief you go by going to temple, same belief by going to a mosque, same belief going to a synagogue. You get those beliefs, no validity, no way of checking it out. It's just a blind faith. We're living in blind faith. But that blind faith does not alter the quality of our life. I have seen people who claim to have unshakable faith, but when you provoke them, they're as angry as anybody else. You put temptation before them, they're as lustful as anybody else. You snatch away their property, they're as possessive and greedy as anybody else. So what has happened with all that faith? If it has not even changed our basic character, hasn't changed our basic way of living, what good is that kind of blind faith? But if you have living faith, you will see that these things don't matter. They are temporary experiences. You'll be able to see the differences in the experiences that you have, and you will realize that these costumes we are wearing of different bodies are all for different experiences, and none of them goes with us when we change. The physical experience, physical property, physical things we have, physical friends we have, they won't go when you leave the body. They remain here. You have other friends, but they are not these. Some of these friends, maybe they are too, which is a good thing. Because you will find that when you die, there are some of your friends still sitting there. Well, not everybody. Some were created only for this experience. You go into a dream state. In the dream, you meet 20 people, and then you don't know, they all look real. They all look the same. There is no difference. And you wake up and you say, oh, these 3 were there. What about the other 17? You created them for the dream. Here we are creating people around. And when we wake up into higher level of consciousness, into the astral plane, some are still there. We say, yes, we saw you. Those who are intimately connected with us here are all there. And those with whom we have no karmic connection, with whom no interaction, they have disappeared. They were only created like a crowd over here. Then there's another crowd over there too, but not the same crowd. Then we wake up again and we find some are still there. The rest of the crowd has disappeared. We wake up again. What happens when you finally wake up? You find one is still there, all others have disappeared. And that one happens to be the perfect living master who initiated us here. That is the greatest wonder of this realization, that the one friend who is still the end has been there at all times, right up to the physical plane, right up to the dream state. That you can have a friend like that, every time you wake up, he's still there. Others, the crowds disappear. So this is a remarkable thing, that when we wake up to higher reality, we find that all people are not equally real. That some are real at all levels, some are real at less levels. And some are only real in dream, some are only real in a wakeful state. So now, supposing you find out through meditation who are the people who are real, up to the second stage, called stage. Then you come down here. When you look at them in the physical plane, they are more real right here because you have seen them inside. You have seen them in a wakeful state. That is, if you can carry the memory of that experience with you.
Now, having said that, I still feel that you should see the effect of diet. But diet, becoming vegetarian is not enough. How much you eat is also important. If you eat heavy meals, they also do not allow you to meditate properly. So not only I am suggesting vegetarian food, I am suggesting light food. Make it as light as possible. You know, in this country, over the last 20 years, obesity has grown every year, especially juvenile obesity in children. Just because the food they are eating is either not the best healthy food or they are overeating, and people think overeating is good. There's a very good reason why people overeat, and that is in the body, normally the nervous system sends information to the brain very quickly. So far as hunger and digestive system is concerned, those messages don't go through the normal nervous system. They go through the bacteria in the gut. More and more discoveries being made about the importance of the bacteria. Do you know there are trillions of bacteria sitting inside each of us? The average weight of bacteria in our body is about 3 pounds on an average adult. It's supposed to be the largest organ of the body, heavier than the liver, the stomach, and the heart combined. It's heavier than that. It's so important. Those bacteria are good and bad bacteria both sitting together. The bad bacteria like junk food. They like food that is not the best for us. The good bacteria like good food. And therefore, the messages are going from there. And they have a tendency to delay the message when we are full. All other messages from the nervous system go instantly to the brain. When you are full and no longer hungry, this message takes 20 minutes to go to the brain. It's amazing how the difference has been kept. All overeating is done in those 20 minutes. Because you discover 20 minutes later, after you're full, that you are full. The message is delayed. I went to Japan and found they have a different way of eating. They divide their food into portions. When it comes to the last portions, they allow 20 minutes gaps. So by that time they know they are full, they won't overeat. So that's a very good system. Here also, if you feel you are still hungry, allow 20 minutes to pass, you will be hungry. You will be full. No, not hungry anymore. So that is why we overeat. If you eat, let me give you a challenge. Cut down what you are eating by 25%, you will be more healthy. Simple. It's such a straightforward statement. If you cut down half what you're eating, you'll still be healthy. We overeat so much. The body does not need that much. People laden with proteins are worrying about protein. You can't imagine how much we are overdoing protein over here. Just somewhere the idea has gone. Where do I get my protein from? Protein is the building block which raises children, makes them adults and makes them big. Maintenance of the body does not require that protein. And we are eating more protein as grown-ups than we feed even the children. So that is why we are not having a balanced diet. And look at the diet we are having. Overeating also interferes in meditation the way meat eating does. Therefore, it's not merely being vegetarian, it's also eat light meals. Only when a person completely goes away, disobeys, and runs, he may have to come with improved situations in the next 2 lives for maybe a third life. Only a person who not only runs away, tries to harm the master, kill the master, assassinate him, crucify him, he may have to come on a fourth life. 4 lives is not for everybody. It's a more rare occurrence than first life. First life is very common, and that is why sometimes I refer to the marked souls who come to a perfect way master as belonging to different categories. I call them, master did not call them, I call category A and category B. A category A who will be taken back home by the same master, and category B who will find in due course another master. If you have just a darshan, look at the face of a master, you guaranteed category B. Some master in some future life, not too far away, will initiate you. If you're in category A, the same master will take you to your true home. And if he has to give you another life, he has to give you another life because of the conditions I've explained. You will find him in the next life, could even be an astral life. In that case, you would be taken by same master in 1 or 2 lives. And if you are guaranteed to go in the same life, I call category A+. Now I must tell you, did I tell you the story of how great master was appointed by Baba Jaimal Singh and how clever he was when he got the duty to become a great master? He was a very clever master. I'll repeat the story for you. This story has been narrated and is available on YouTube in a satsang given by a man, old man, who lived in his time. I saw him, heard his satsangs also, called Arood Singh. Arood Singh. It is available, it's in Punjabi. So, Arood Singh satsang given in Ambala, probably way back the 40s. In that, he describes how Narayan Singh, a man who was one of the disciples of Baba Jaimal Singh, along with Great Master, how the event took place when Great Master got the duty to become a master, and he was told by his master that you will be the next master. 14 people were present at that time. And Baba Jaimal Singh, simple man, 14 of his disciples sitting in front, all great devoted disciples. And he closed his eyes and opened his eyes and he said, "This may be the last talk I will give you. Now somebody else will carry on this work." Then he said, Swamiji, his master was Swami Seth Shivdayal Singh from Agra. He referred to him as Swamiji. Swamiji has ordered me to ask you, Sawan Singh, to be the next master and continue my work, which I am doing for my master. Great Master got a little surprised. He looked around at 13 other people who he thought were far more qualified to do this job. He was merely a subdivisional engineer in the military engineering service, actually working on that job. Suddenly he's being asked to do this. He said, "Master, forgive me for asking you that I am on a job and I work there. Maybe one of these people, they are more qualified than me to carry on your work. Why don't you ask them?" He said, "I will check with Swamiji." So he closed his eyes, and after a minute or two, he opened his eyes. He said, "New Moj has come." And Great Master said, "What is the Moj?" He said, "Swamiji has said, only Sawan Singh will do this work." Great Master was not satisfied with that. So he put another question. He said, "Master, you are living in a small little hut, just 2 rooms.
I am used to living in a big bungalow, in a large house. Now to do your work, you want me to leave all that and sit in a little hut and do that work? Is that your intention? He said, let me check with Swamiji. So he closed his eyes. After a minute or two, opened his eyes, says, new Moj has come. And he said, what is the Moj now? He said, Swamiji has instructed that when Sawan Singh will do this work, he will have a house like the one he is living in now and not in the hut. Still not satisfied. I am telling you how clever he was. Negotiating how to do spiritual work. He said, Master, you know that you have said that when people come to see you, you have to feed them. You should have a langar. And very few people come here. Maybe 15, 20 people come to you. You say thousands will come. And now I am a poor employee. My pension will be so little. How will I feed so many people? And Baba Jaimal Singh said, let me check. He closed his eyes. After a little while he opened his eyes and said, new Moj has come. He said, what is the Moj now? He says, Swamiji has instructed that you will never have to spend anything from your pension. People will give enough donations and you will never be short of food so long as you are the master. Still not satisfied. He said, but Babaji, you have told people that when one is initiated by a perfect living master, he can come 4 more lives. And the master takes responsibility for those 4 more lives. I am trying to get out myself from this life. And you want me to come 4 times for those disciples? And Baba Jaimal Singh said, let me check it. He closed his eyes and opened them, said, new Moj has come. Swamiji has said that Sawan Singh, if you initiate anybody, that person will not have to come again. This will be his last life. All declared A+ before he became master. Remarkable. He said, all right, then I accept your orders. I'll carry on as best as I can. That is how great master was appointed. And he worked for more than 40 years as a master. Lived in a beautiful house which was built on top of the same 2 huts. And every day when Babaji left in 1903, 29 December, his body, great master would go into that small little hut which is in the middle of his house. Twice I had the great opportunity to go with him inside. I had never seen tears in the eyes of great master during my entire association except on those 2 days. When he would be there, I was there. That's the only time I saw tears in devotion for his master. To see him in tears explained to me what devotion means. You can't control your emotions. You can't control your feelings. That's the kind of love that comes from a master and stays with you forever, for life. So that is why I am saying it's such a lucky thing to be initiated by a master, perfect living master, who guarantees. Sometimes these masters do more than that. Even in their physical body, sometimes they take on some heavy karma of some of their disciples. It is also important to remember that we have individual karma. Each one of us carries our own karma. When we grow up, we carry our own karma. When a baby is born, a little sweet bundle of joy, you know that. What happens, the sweet bundle of joy is this tall. Won't listen to us. And does things which we tell, don't do, but he says, I'll do more. Teenagers, this is a teenager state.
Now it's a grown-up state. I know more than my dad. I know better, much better. Is it the same baby that we said with a bundle of joy? What has happened? Own karma. Twin brothers or twin sisters born. Identical twins. Sharing the same ova or sperm or whatever it is that makes them identical twins. Grow up totally different. Look identical and they grow up totally different. Totally different nature. Total different attitudes. Karma is very individual. Therefore, remember, because we all have had experience of children growing up, we grew up as children, all of us, and we also now see our children, grandchildren, I see my children growing up, grandchildren growing up, and we try to say they should work in this particular way. They should live their life like this. We are going to guide them how to live. It doesn't work. Karma will work. Everyone is carrying their own karma. Therefore, trying to modify the lives of other people, whether children or adults, is a useless exercise. Don't waste your time on that. Everybody has their own karma, and they all live like that. Another lesson to be learned, because so many times we think that we can modify other people's lives. It doesn't work like that. The question is, why is suffering necessary? That if we are here and we are part of God and we are just individualized units of God as it were in this reality, why is it suffering necessary in order to have true bliss and true happiness? The reason is that consciousness is designed to appreciate that which is the opposite of what you are experiencing. It's a world of duality. This whole world, the three worlds, is of duality or pairs of opposites. If the pair doesn't exist, none of them exist. It is like if there was no darkness, you would never see light. Just imagine if there was light all the time, whether you open your eyes, close your eyes, walk day and night, then light is always there, you would never have seen it. Nobody would have seen. You can only see light if you have seen darkness. Happiness does not come to us if there is no unhappiness. We don't regard it as happiness unless the opposite is also experienced. The world of opposites is based upon this, that you have to have one opposite of each other to have this. So therefore this whole three worlds below Parbrahm are created as pairs of opposites. But then our true home has no opposites. So how do we experience the true home when there is no opposite there? It becomes this whole world of pairs of opposites becomes the opposite of a world with no opposites. So therefore even there the same principle has been applied. Actually some mystics have said that the souls that did not leave Sachkhand are still part of God there. We call them Bans. And those who came to this adventure land here in these three worlds, we call them Hans. And when the Hans returns to the Sachkhand, like we will do and go back to Sachkhand, they will see that the Banses are singing bliss. Oh, we are happy, we are happy. They are singing because they are in bliss. And then we'll jump very high to sing and dance. And they'll say, what is so special about you? We are the same souls. Why are you dancing more and shouting more than us? We'll tell them, you don't know what you're missing. Because you haven't seen. You don't know what you're having. If you have something, unless you have seen the opposite of that, you cannot even appreciate what you have. So this creation with suffering was not only to create the opposite in these three worlds, but to create an opposite to the bliss that exists in our own home. And that's why a great master, giving a reply, says that the suffering was created by the Creator himself. And the Creator himself put himself into a state of not knowing by coming here. We are all the Creator in a form that looks like many. And to wake up and go back, we created suffering here so that we appreciate non-suffering there. So it's a good answer that he gave. I think it's in the Spiritual Gems that you can read some of these answers. He gave to other people also. We used to believe that every time you come and give any talks. You also tell some jokes. I thought that as souls, coming here and feeling we are trapped itself is a big joke. That we take it so seriously that we can't take it like we have come for a ride. We've come for a ride just for temporary enjoyment of a different kind of experience. Why different? Because this experience in the three worlds of matter, senses and mind has pain and pleasure. It's called a world of duality. And we don't have duality in our true home. Wanted to see something new. Good, we saw something new, we experienced it, we experienced pain and pleasure, we experienced day and night, we experienced all kinds of pairs of opposites which only exist here and don't exist in our true home. It was nice, but what was the purpose of it? The purpose was that consciousness appreciates. How does it appreciate? If you are sad and somebody makes you happy, you appreciate that happiness. If you are not sad, somebody makes you happy, you appreciate little less. You appreciate a lot more. That's the nature of consciousness. You appreciate a lot more if you have just experienced the opposite of that. We have come and experienced the opposite of our true home. We have experienced duality here, experienced pairs of opposites here. They don't exist in our true home. Now when we go to true home, what happens? We dance with joy more than anybody else, more than all the other souls. And this has been written down in some scriptures, some books, notably in a book called Anurag Sagar, Ocean of Love, which is a dialogue between Kabir and Dharamdas, his disciple. In that he describes that those souls which have come away from their true home and had this experience of duality, when they go back, they are Hans, transformed into Hans. Those who are already there are Buns. The Hans dance and sing much louder than those who are Buns. And the Buns ask the Hans, how come we are all souls? What is making you more happy? And we tell them, you don't know what you are missing. You don't even know what you are having here, because we have seen the opposite of it. One of the big features of coming here and going back. Not a good joke, right? Life is short. Don't postpone. If you are real seekers, if you want to get results, don't postpone. Don't say, well, when I'll retire, when I'll get time, I'll do this. The earlier you start, you get a head start on it. And of course, you can give some time to it when you're busy with other things. But priority, the main thing is to look at your list of priorities in life. And if you say, oh, I have to do my job, this priority, I have to look after my family, I have to look after earning, I have to go and do shopping, I have to do this thing. There are high priorities. At the end, when I get time, I'll do a little meditation. That's not a good enough priority. If you say, meditation is the best thing I can get in my human life, I shouldn't miss it. Other things I will take care of. And then you put meditation top. I can't miss that. I can do the other things. I can postpone something else, but not that. If you put a priority like that, you'll be successful. Now I'm going to tell you a little secret, an experiential secret. When you put priority on the spiritual path, on meditation, the things on which you're giving so much attention get taken care of by themselves. That means you get some strange inner divine help. You get divine help to get things which you are trying to put so much attention on and so much priority on, and they get solved one by one so fast. And why? Because your priority was right. So don't think that you are going to give up your job or you give up your work or give your duties and obligations in life. You will fulfill them better with meditation. And you will find out for your own experience.